Thank everyone for coming to the London City Council meeting. Please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, could you please take the roll call?
Eads.
Here.
Peters. Robinson.
Here.
Hayes.
Present.
Pitt.
Here.
Stahl.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
All right. And has everyone had a chance to take a look at our minutes from the last meeting? Any changes or corrections? All right. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes carry. All right, we do not have any communications or announcements. Audience concerns, we do have one. We have Anita Likens. Please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita Likens, address 157 East First Street, here in London, Ohio. I take us back to March 24th when we had my last reading of the Section 2 that deals with the presidential powers of the Constitution. And as we left, President Comer, you mentioned that aren't we fortunate to be in a country of freedom? And I really appreciated what you said there. And I wanted to share with you all today just a brief reading from the 1967 inaugural address of January 5th of President Reagan. He wrote about freedom. And this is the simple magic of the commonplace routine which makes it a near miracle to many of the world's inhabitants. The continuing fact that the people, by democratic process, can delegate power and yet retain custody of it. Perhaps you and I have lived too long with this miracle to be truly appreciative. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by the way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. And those in world history who have known freedom and have lost it have never known it again. Knowing this, it's hard to explain those among us who even today would question the people's capacity for self-government. I've often wondered if they will answer, those who subscribe to that philosophy, if no one among us is capable of governing themselves, then who among us has the capacity to govern someone else? I will continue now with my reading of Section 2 of the Article 2, which is dealing with presidential powers. The President shall be the commander of the Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and the militia of several states when called into the actual service of the United States. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices. And he shall have power to grant reprieves, pardons for offenses against the United States in case of impeachment, except in that case. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present. And he shall nominate and by with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. The Congress may by law vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper, in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of the departments. The President shall have the power to fill up vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their session. Section 3, the final section of Article 2. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them on such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors, and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed and shall commission all of the officers of the United States. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. I'll now start with Article 3 that deals with judicial powers. And if you'll recall, I did mention a few weeks ago that these powers are set up in priority, i.e. the powers of the people through the Senate and House of Representatives is the primary focus of the Founding Fathers. The presidential executive branch is the secondary level, and the Supreme Court was actually just kind of the third to determine and to resolve issues that might come up in articles of law. It contains 3 sections. Section 1, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may have time to ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior court, shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall at stated times receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2, the judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, on to our committee reports. We will start with Mr. Eads.
Last night, the Services Committee met, which encompasses the Recreation Department and Street Department. Mr. Robinson is going to discuss the Rec Department. Street Department, if those of you in this room have never seen the report that Mr. Long gives us, I will tell you, it always seems very impressive when it's a 4-page written report, because he makes sure that he lists everything they've done, and I appreciate that, because it certainly seems like there's more than what we may realize at times on what the street department does. So instead of going through each and every one of these points, there's some other things that we discussed after he presented this or gave this to us. A couple things I'd like to bring up. The camera system, they've tested currently 3 different camera systems, trying to make a decision on what's going to be best for the city. Mr. Long advised that he thought that they had a better option on possibly, instead of buying some of the auxiliary equipment and a trailer, that they could do that themselves, save money, and buy more equipment for the same cost. Mr. Comer was there for part of a demonstration because they were looking in the lines right outside of his commercial building there on 2nd Street. So they have looked at those 3. Currently, I asked this later, they had discussed about an engineering firm that is working on the south end of town. I got an explanation from that they are actually shooting elevations, trying to find out what's causing water problems. They're shooting the elevations at ground level and below where the pipes are to see if those are possibly out of grade, which means water can't go through them. So I didn't know that. I was glad to learn that. We discussed a few other things. I don't know if we want to bring this up now, Mr. Comer, but Mr. Mars gave a presentation. There was some information that. Do you want to bring that up when that ordinance comes up?
Yeah, when that ordinance comes up.
Okay. So beyond that, the traffic lights, going back and looking at Mr. Long's notes, the traffic lights at Madison High, Walnut and High and Elm, at the fire department, and Lafayette and Eagleton. I think all of those lights have been replaced at this point with the newer lights, which are obviously brighter. I think that's great for the safety of that. Yeah. There has been, as Mr. Long pointed out, speculation that we now have red light cameras, which we don't. So those cameras that they have mounted on those lights, either on the pole itself or on the sides and the corners, those are to pick up the traffic. So if they don't put some type of the old stop switches, the plates in the road, especially on busier roads, these cameras pick it up, and when they see a vehicle that's in that area, that will trigger that to switch, which means busier roads will probably stay green when they should, and when you pull up on a side road, that it'll trigger that so you can cross the road at that point. So I know he said, and I had also read that comment, that there was speculation that we have red light cameras, and we do not. I don't think we can legally do that without notification and signs. So that's what I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Robinson.
So I attended last night with the public service. I'll go over the Park and Rec department. They were finishing up volleyball this week for the indoor session. Whenever pool rates, there's a lot of talk about that with the increase in supplies. As everyone knows, everything's going up in price, so there might be increases to the pool rates. June 3rd through the 6th, there's lifeguard classes. Currently, they have 14 lifeguards coming back, so she thinks it'll be staffed correctly. There's not too much worry there. Down at Merrimack, the equipment is in. She would like to get the cameras in place before adding the equipment. So there's some talk about getting some electrical ran there and putting in cameras. That'll be a resolution that'll have to come up here soon about the spending and what account it's coming out of. There's also inquiries of the ball fields, which step one is the equipment. Step two, we'll start going into the ball fields. As a lot of people may or may not know, there's a lot of baseball programs being ran out of London, and they're needing facilities to run out of and practice. Back to the pool, I'm sorry I missed this, but the concrete work, there's a lot of concrete work. That pool's extremely old. So that's starting Thursday and Friday, which all that's already been taken care of, just waiting for the weather to break so we can start the work. Other than that, we have received some applications. They're running through numerous sites for the new Park and Recs position, director position. There's a few good candidates. There's still, it goes into what, April 18th is what you guys said? April 18th to cut off. So if anyone's interested or anybody know anyone that's interested, you got till April 18th to get your resume in. So that's all I got. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Next meeting is May 4th at 6 p.m. We are moving the meetings from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. from here on out, so they will be in the evenings.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Hayes.
Next Safety Committee meeting will be April 12th at 5 p.m. in our conference room. And that will also be the third town hall meeting that evening. I think it takes place at 6, if memory serves me correctly. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hitt?
I have nothing new.
Okay. Mr. Stahl?
Have nothing.
All right, Mr. Smith?
I don't have much. This next BPU meeting will be April 28th, and then the rest of what we'll talk about is when the legislation comes up.
Okay. All right, on to city official reports.
Hello? There we go. All right. You guys have touched on some of the stuff that I was going to touch on, but I'll still go through it. So I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We've had 2 town hall meetings about the proposed levy, and they both went very well. The first meeting had a total of 27 people in attendance, and the second had 44. They have been positive meetings where a lot of information is being presented, and people are able to get their questions answered and their comments expressed. So you can watch these meetings on the city's website at londonohio.gov if you're unable to come. We have 2 more town hall meetings coming up, which are April 12th and April 26th. Both meetings will be held here at City Hall and begin at 6 p.m. If you are unable to attend but would have a question or a comment that you would like to have read, you can email me directly at pclosser@londonohio.gov or call the City Administration Office at 740-852-3243. Last month, I was able to teach junior achievement in Mrs. Dunman's 3rd grade class at London Elementary. It's another great class where the kids were able to learn about local government and being an entrepreneur. I will be starting my next junior achievement class this coming week in Mr. Stone's 5th grade class at St. Patrick's. Junior Achievement is a great program that gets kids engaged and teaches them real-world skills. So if you'd like to help out Junior Achievement, you can always contact Junior Achievement of the Mad River region. They're always looking for volunteers and other forms of support. I also was able to go speak with students from Mrs. Landingham's STEM program at London Middle School. They are starting to do projects that deal with infrastructure that apply STEM, the STEM program. It's a very bright group of young adults, and they had great questions, and their initial brainstorming ideas were definitely amazing. Speaking of infrastructure, as we talked about, Choice One Engineering is working on their study on the storm sewer in the southeast quadrant of the city. Once they have completed the study and finished their report, we will continue our conversation on what steps to take next. We also had a community meeting with the residents of Graceland and Marymount area. We are looking at a public-private partnership to help with the stormwater issues in that area. I also would like to thank the street department and the Madison County Engineers Office for all their hard work that they've been doing in the creeks lately. They were able to remove a lot of debris from the creek that runs behind Jacqueline all the way down to the south end. This should really help with the water flow, taking the stormwater downstream and out of town faster. So if you guys have been down Park Avenue, if you look in the big field on the opposite side of the park, you guys can really see the change that was able to be made down there and everything that was pulled out. That'll really help with the flow of water. The Merrimack Miracle Group had their indoor cornhole tournament a couple weeks ago, and they were able to raise some money to continue their efforts to improve Merrimack Park. The playground equipment for Merrimack has been delivered, and we hope to get it up in early summer. We want to make sure that we get the electric ran to the area and the camera system installed before we erect the playground. So there will be legislation coming in front of you guys to get the electric and the cameras. We'll be moving money from Parks and Playground Fund into the proper line to buy these things. So I hope we can get this passed soon, because the sooner the better that we can get this done so we can move ahead and get the playground up as fast as possible. The City of London is still currently accepting applications for the Park and Recreation Director, the applications are due on April 18th, and the Police Department is currently taking applications for dispatchers that are due on May 11th. So if you're interested in either of these positions or want to get some more information, you can go to our website, londonohio.gov, and go to the Job Opportunities tab. I do want to thank the City of Dublin, Ohio for their participation in our annual April Fool's Day prank. We made a social media post saying that we were finalizing a partnership with Dublin to be a sister city. Some people assumed that that was Ireland when it was actually just for a $50 gift card to make their way to Dublin, Ohio. That was their trip to Dublin. Leisha Marie was the big winner of the gift card, and just want to let everyone know that I purchased the gift card. I don't want anyone to think that we spent city money to purchase a gift card for this little bit of fun we had. Just a reminder to everyone that we are flushing water lines and hydrants currently, so you may see a little bit of discoloration into of your water, and that's from the sediment being stirred up. But it does clear pretty fast. I have been reached out to by some people, and I tell them what's going on, and then they get back to me very soon and say, oh, it's all clear. So, and remember, we are also continuing to replace traffic signal lights around town, so please be cautious when they are working at those intersections. And if you come up to an intersection where possibly the lights are off because they're switching them over, just treat the intersection as a four-way stop and just be safe while we get through this. Now on to the MOLO Fun Fact, which is the number 46. 2 Thursdays ago, you guys noticed that Amy and I was not here. Amy Reese won the prestigious Bell Ringer Award from the Madison County Chamber of Commerce, becoming the 46th recipient. So this is a well-deserving award for all her hard work she's done in our community. As you guys know, she volunteers a lot of hours and is part of many nonprofits. She's always there to help out and do what she can to help make Madison County an even better place. So congrats to you, Amy. And And that is all I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On to old business, ordinance 12922. A motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
All right, clerk, please read the ordinance.
Ordinance 12922, sponsored by Josh Peters, an ordinance vacating an alley.
Okay, and Josh Peters is not here this evening, but we did talk about this a little bit yesterday at the public service meeting, and we had Mr. Mars, he was there, and he spoke a little bit about it, and they have plans to make it sort of like a courtyard area, the alley that's in between, I forget what, Dave Jackman's building, and is it like 84? 62. So right in 62 and 64, two different properties there, but they want to make it like a nice courtyard and add seating, and they want to add fencing. They want to renovate the property there and make it kind of higher end rentals for the very front, and then a couple of other nicer ones for the back, about 4 different units. So they have big plans for that, and so far they have gotten, they've signed a petition to have the alley cleared, but they are, he's going to discuss with the other property owner who is not in favor of having that alley vacated. So we'd like to have, everyone whose property abuts that alley, we'd like to have them, give their signatures to give notification that they agree with that alley vacation. Did you have anything else to add, Mr. Eads?
No, that pretty much covers it.
Okay.
Just a little further discussion about how they wanted to split it. Instead of taking the width of the alley and giving half here and half there, they would prefer to split with a front and back, which Mr. Jackman, from what we hear, his objection is that his tenants wouldn't have access to their garage unless if they vacated the alley. However, with this suggestion, if he gets the back half, then they would still have their access to their garage, their storage space. And then the business and or the apartments on South Main Street, they would have the front half of that if they split it that way. So I asked if they would be willing to give us something in writing, maybe amend what they've given us for this, so that we as a council moving forward can decide to vote on that.
All right, okay. And I look forward to hearing his comments back from speaking with Mr. Jackman on their idea. And that is set for public hearing on May the 5th. All right, on to Resolution 13222, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 13222, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2022.
All right, and Josh Peters is not here this evening. This is the annual salt contract that we have, and we are agreeing to purchase it at a certain rate. Rex, you know what that is? That how that process goes? We agreed to purchase it for a certain rate from the state. So when that contract comes up, we have the authority to bid at that time.
So the state will buy a very large amount, and then they let municipalities kind of piggyback onto their amount, and then so that is where the how we team up with ODOT for the road salt. So we have to enter into contract to say that we will kind of ride with them and take their price, which usually is cheaper than what we can buy it if we went out as a municipality, just the City of London, and tried to do it ourselves.
Right.
Sure. Sheer volume.
Yeah.
Get the price down.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anyone have any questions on that?
This isn't due until April 29th. We have time for a third reading if we prefer to.
Yes, we do. All right, so we want to leave that on. All right, on to our new business, Resolution 13322, a motion to read by title or number.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All right, clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution 13322, sponsored by Anthony Smith, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to repair a sewer line with cost in excess of the $25,000 limitation.
So we had a sewer line issue on East 2nd Street from Main to Union with the cameras that we've been demoing. We had a company, they used it, went in, looked at it. There's cracks in the pipe and very large cracks, and so debris gets caught in that, gets plugged up, causing us a lot of issues. The way the legislation is set up right now is to give them the amount if they have to replace it. The BPU board, they are looking into a possibility of putting a sleeve in. Depends on the size of the pipe. The last conversation I had, they did believe that it was an 8-inch pipe, not a 6-inch, and that would allow them to be able to sleeve it. But if it's a 6-inch and you get into sleeving it, can make it even smaller when it's already the 6-inch, so that may not be an option that they want to go. But they are trying to do their due diligence, save as much money as they can if it can be sleeved, but if not, we don't have much of a choice. We got to repair it. So, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I talked to Mark Vest today. He's the chair of BPU, and the company that would sleeve that, he said they could sleeve it all the way down. And when they put the cameras in there, they did not even go all the way down the whole pipe.
Right.
And they found 10 holes in the pipe, and that's just a small section from Main to Union. And there were also areas in the pipe where the clay was worn, and you could tell that it was going to crack and give at some point. So the sleeving, it sounds like a really good idea if they're able to do that. He said it may save in the neighborhood of about $10,000 if they can use the sleeve instead of the other. But it would either need sleeved or replaced.
Right.
You can't even patch it. It had so many weak spots in that, and due to those that pipe being backed up, it was causing lots of problems for a business owner there on Main Street. So hopefully she can get everything in working order so she can get back to business. But that's just a short testimony too of the infrastructure, our underground water lines and sewer lines. They are really old, and we know that it's going to take lots of money to fix those. But I think that since we are here now, I think it is our duty to do what we can to start to work on this and not kick the can down the street, but to actually start to make a big difference in improving the infrastructure in our city. So I look forward to hearing all of our new things that we're going to get done in this city. So
I think it was great, everyone that worked, on getting the cameras, so Councilman Eads. I think that's a great thing, and because I'm sure we are going to find out more and more areas that need repaired, and and hopefully be able to fix things, or maybe find issues that we didn't even know that we had. That'll make a difference. So.
And I was able to see the cameras that we have. We were looking at. They're in the list, and these cameras they give a crystal clear image. As a matter of fact, the camera that was in the pipe, it was small enough where it could go down into the pipe. And there's other cameras that are larger that may not have been able to make that turn to go in there. So they're smaller. You can change the wheels on them. And as this camera was going down the pipe, it was actually pushing a brick. It was strong enough to push a brick, but then it got to 3 bricks where they had collapsed in the tunnel. So I think that was about the end of where we could go. But the cameras, I think they're going to be a huge asset to the city to get that. Yes.
Just a quick question. If they replace that, that'd be with plastic pipe, correct? Would we be better off going ahead and putting a new pipe in there versus a sleeve or not?
Richard, do you want to come? Can you come up on the mic? And you could probably introduce yourself. I don't know if all of council knows who you are yet.
Hi, my name's Richard Duncan. I'm the new superintendent of wastewater. We have, in my previous position, we relined a lot of sewers. Basically, it's a fabric tube that goes inside the sewer, and it's got an epoxy resin in it. So when that hardens, it's basically as strong as the original pipe or stronger. These are designed to last for 50 to 75 years. So it's basically as good as a new pipe. But it'll save the excavation and the street repair and disruption to parking in the area. So if we're able to do it, and we've got the company that we're working with is coming in tomorrow, and they're going to thoroughly clean that line and also the line in the alley, then they'll be able to get a 100% video of the entire length of the sewer. They're supposed to be there at 9 o'clock tomorrow, and when they're done, they'll have a good idea on if it can be lined or not. But it's like having a new pipe.
Okay. And we save $10,000 by using the sleeve?
We'll know tomorrow
Okay.
more, but the estimate that we had from Forrest was for $33,000 just to excavate and replace that pipe. That did not include repaving, though. So I'm thinking we'll be able to replace that section of pipe for under $20,000 easily, if it can be fixed. So that'd be a pretty good savings.
Okay.
And we're also going to look at the alley, too, where there might be some problems in there. The sewer goes from Union up Second to the alley, then it turns and goes up the alley behind Main Street. So we should have a good idea on everything tomorrow. And you're welcome to come tomorrow and check things out, because they should be there at 9.
Sounds good.
Just to let you guys know, it's the alley that runs behind Roseman and Mays back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
So the $33,000, Richard, that we're looking at today, that would be kind of worst-case scenario,
Right.
right? So we appropriate this so that you have it in case you need it, but if you decide to go the other way, then there's going to be more than enough money to do that.
Yes.
So what would prevent the sewer line from being relined? Just the amount of damage, or?
Yeah. If there's a major failure in the pipe, I mean, there's some voids, there's some sections of pipe that are missing, but he said what he's seen so far can be lined. But if there's more that he hasn't seen yet, it may not be able to be lined. So sometimes they may have to do like a spot repair where they dig it up and fix a certain section of it, which of course adds more to the cost. So hopefully they can just not do any excavation at all and just line it from manhole to manhole.
Yeah. Is there any further questions? I'd like to make a motion. We suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
All right. First and second, suspend the 3 reading rule. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Robinson?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Move to adopt. Second.
All right, we have a motion to adopt and a second. Clerk, please take the roll call for adoption.
Hayes?
Yes.
Hitt?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Eads?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 13322 has been adopted. On to roundtable. We'll begin with Mr. Smith.
Just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I do want to say the traffic lights look great, nice and bright. I do like that they are black instead of the yellow. They don't stick out as bad. And then, so, 10, the next third ward meeting for the grant that we are trying to get is May 7th. It's at 10 a.m. If you know anyone in Ward 3, please come to that meeting. We're competing for a $750,000 grant. The state gives the money to the counties, but through the process, the state will only approve about half of the grants that are applied for. And so one way that we can get this grant is through citizen participation. There was letters that were mailed out a few months ago asking what individuals thought we should do with the money if we did receive the money. We did get some of those turned in, which is great. We definitely need more. So if you know someone that lives in Ward 3 and they have not filled one of those out, I will get them one. But the next meeting, if you can be there, and you live in Ward 3, is May 7th at 10 a.m. It's a very important meeting. This will be the last meeting before the paperwork is sent out to apply for the grant. So this will be the last meeting. It's very important. Also, a few days ago, or last week, I apologize, I went to the Mary Mac Park meeting and saw the playground equipment. The gentleman that's in charge of that, where we're looking at putting that. I think they've got a great ideas going. Very excited to see that get put in this summer. Excited to have the cameras. I think great things happening on the south end of town. So very exciting stuff. What would be great is with the grant, some of the things we've looked into is sidewalks. We have areas right now on the south end of town that if a kid, depending on which house they live in, if they wanted to go to Merrimack Park, they have to walk in the street to get to Merrimack Park. So if we can apply for the grants and those citizens are willing to work with the city, we can get sidewalks put in. That'll be a lot safer for those kids or any individual that wants to enjoy the park. They'll have a nice, safe, brand new sidewalk, and the best part is it would be out of a grant. It would be free money having those things installed. So please come to the May 7th meeting at 10 o'clock. Anybody Ward 3, tell him you'll buy him breakfast. He will have donuts there. I don't care. Whatever you got to do, get them there. So.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stahl?
Also, when he's talking about that, the Ward 3 meeting, they're talking about 9 or 10 possible fire hydrants, and they're costly to replace, and that's one of the things I'd like to see happen. And also, thanks for everyone to coming out.
All right. Mr. Hitt?
I have nothing.
Mr. Hayes?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. I want to thank all city employees for your service and your great work ethic. Congratulations to Mrs. Reese on her prestigious award from the Chamber of Commerce, the Bell Ringer Award. Way to go. Continue to pray for Ukraine and her people. Happy Easter to everyone. Just like Christmas, don't forget the real reason for the season, the resurrection of Christ. God bless the city of London and all who live here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Robinson?
I have nothing additional.
All right. Mr. Eads?
So I was visited by a lady that used to sit out in the audience very frequently. Her name's Shirley Litchfield. I asked her a number of things that we talked about. She did want me to bring this up for her, that she would like to see the city enforce the ordinances for cities or for sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. And I understood what she was talking about because recently I went for a pretty long walk and encountered so many places in the city that are just dangerous to walk on. Sometimes it's because the sidewalk's in bad shape. Sometimes there's a big difference where roots have brought that up or the sidewalks are tore up. There's also lots of places where there's glass on the sidewalks. So I'm hoping right now, springtime, people go out and clean up their sidewalks, their yards, whatever. But I do think that we have to kind of begin at home. And before I would hope that people would fix their sidewalks, but before we could ask everyone else to fix their sidewalks, I think we have to look at the city-owned property and see, is it up to code? Are there any trip and fall hazards there? What needs to be repaired? Maybe the curbs, maybe getting in the ramps for the handicaps there. Maybe that's something to look at too, but I think that's something that we have to look at to fix our stuff first. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right. Also, Kenneth, did you have anything? Nothing? Okay, just wanted to be sure. All right. Also wanted to remind everyone that we do have a levy coming up on the ballot, and it is to build a new recreation center. Also, it is to build a new police station and also to fund the fire EMS, and that is put together as one whole levy instead of being separated into 3 different parts or 2 different parts as a building part and a funding part. So want to make sure that everyone is aware of that, and there's 2 more town hall meetings that they're going to have a discussion on this, and that's going to be on April 12th and then another one on April the 26th, and those are both at 6 p.m., and that's here. That's right here. So tell all your friends and neighbors that there are 2 more town hall meetings where you can discuss the levy, or you can also watch the recordings for those. Just again, like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Also, too, please keep the people of Ukraine in your thoughts, and also keep the good old United States of America in your thoughts as well. Like a motion to adjourn.
Mr.
Motion.
President?
Yes.
Just a quick thing here. So in case you didn't know, early voting's already started.
Oh, yeah.
If someone wants to go vote in person, I believe they can do that, or they can request their ballot. If you've not read the language on the ballot itself, it does not designate what we have in the ordinance, but it does refer to the ordinance. I'm a little confused by that because we designated no greater than 25% for this, right? Or for
And
the
that's
fire
not
department.
included in the language?
It's not in the language on the ballot. So, but it does refer to the ordinance. I'm just not sure how that works. So if someone reads that, maybe they'll get a better answer. I haven't asked any questions other than right now about it because I read that this afternoon, just in case anybody does see that.
Okay, yeah, because I have not read that myself, and that was one of my concerns earlier with it, that if it is on the ballot, that it is on there clear and everyone knows exactly what they're voting for. They know the breakdown of the dollars and everything, so I'll take a look at that as well. And you said that is not included?
No, sir.
Yeah, because we definitely don't want any confusion on the levy. When people vote, we want them to make sure that they know exactly what they are voting for. We want you to go vote and say, "Oh, I didn't know I was voting for that. I thought I was voting for this." We want to make sure that it is 100% clear. So, if you can spread the word and let everyone know that that is a breakup of 0.25% that would go to the fire EMS, and the rest would go to building a new community center and a new police station.
Just to touch on that, if you watch the second meeting, it is broke down financially, how it will be funded and why certain things are set up how they are. So
Okay.
if you need more information, as well as everyone that's involved, if you watch the second meeting, that was a financial meeting, and it went over how it was all broke down, why it's in one levy and not separated into three different levies.
Okay, and that's good that we do, discuss all of that information in those town hall meetings. However, it should be clearly explained on the levy itself. So everyone knows exactly what they're voting for when they go in that booth. For all the, we have about 10,000 some people in the city. All of them may not have seen the town hall meetings. They may not have attended it. They may not have all of the information. They may have pieces of the information. But that levy, when you go there and you read it, it should specifically spell out exactly what it's for. So, all right. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.